Good evening and welcome to the 7th International Fortepiano Salon online. I'm one of your hosts, Yi-heng Yang, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Maria Rose and Audrey Axinn. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us. As we have done in the past, please type in your Facebook and YouTube comment box who you are, where you're listening from, and what you have to do with music and the fortepiano. The International Fortepiano Salon was started during the COVID lockdown when everyone was isolated in their homes. And it was an idea of ours to connect and unify all of the lonely keyboardists and music lovers stuck at home, unable to perform or go to concerts. And the wonderful community that was connected and joined through music has kept going. So even as things are opening up now, we want to keep our community connected and sharing music. And we're so delighted tonight to share highlights from our in-person workshop, the Academy of Fortepiano Performance, in Hunter, New York, run and under the auspices of the Catskill Mountain Foundation in the Catskills of upstate New York. We have some wonderful students and fellows joining us live today to share with us their experiences, and we will hear some of the highlights from beautiful performances from the faculty and student concerts. We had a smaller group this year of students and fellows, but they were exceptionally talented and passionate and gifted, and we had a wonderful time for about a week this past August, one of the first events that any of us had attended since we had been isolated for this long period. So again, please say hello to us in the comment box. Thank you for joining us tonight. The program will be about 1 hour, and I hope you enjoy. Maria Rose, my co-host. Oh, you've got to unmute yourself, Maria.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Yi-heng, and welcome to all of you to this special program of the Salon, in which we really hope to bring you some of the live experiences that we had this summer. As you probably may know, we've had these workshops now for 4 years, and this year it was a challenge to adapt it to the circumstances of the pandemic, and we had to make some last-minute decisions. We had an invited guest artist from Europe who could not come because he was not able to enter the country, and we made some decisions. One of them was that we would only have a 4-day workshop instead of the full week, and also that we would only focus on piano performances and not include chamber music as we had done in previous years. And the other thing we decided to do to compensate for all the things we could not do, to offer some special opportunities for some extremely talented young artists who came, and for them to make video recordings of a piece of their choice on a piano of their choice. And they were all wonderful, and you'll see and meet many of them. We also, instead of live lectures, we had some of these fellows shared some of their own thoughts and research with us. We had an interesting program of their special interest, like Stephanie Schmid was talking about square pianos, and Hilda Huang, who you will meet, engaged in this discussion about early music and performance practice, and many others. So one thing that stayed the same is that we started the workshop with a faculty concert, and you will see some of us, see the three of us in shortly. But first, I would like to introduce our co-host and co-faculty member, Audrey Axinn. Welcome, Audrey.
Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Yi-heng. So what we want to do tonight is to give those watching a little snapshot of what we experienced over the 4-day workshop this summer, and also just reminisce a little bit about the experience. And as Maria just mentioned, there was a faculty concert. There was a terrific student performance at the end of the workshop. And there were also these lecture presentations with some performance by some of our participants. So we because of time, we can't show great amounts of any of these, but we've chosen some excerpts from all of these sorts of events. And we're going to start right now with some brief excerpts from the first night faculty concert that featured Yi-heng and Maria and myself using 3 different pianos. So you'll see in these performances actually a Walter piano, that's my personal instrument, Broadwood piano, and also the newly acquired Graf piano that the museum has recently purchased. So maybe we can go into these performances. Hello. That's a really nice little trip down memory lane. It wasn't that long ago. It was just in August. It's my pleasure to introduce Isaac Foreman. Isaac is one of the students who came and participated in the workshop this year. And I think one of the really nice experiences that we can have with students up in Hunter is when they are fairly new to playing fortepiano, because we can just offer them this amazing array of instruments to try. And it's really fun to watch them jumping in and just experimenting with all the different sounds. So Isaac is one of those students, and he showed up and worked for the week on Mozart's C minor Fantasy, and was able to deliver a really masterful performance. It was really quite something. So we're going to hear an excerpt of that performance, and also just ask Isaac if there's anything he'd like to share about his experience last summer.
Yes, thank you. So as Audrey said, my name is Isaac Foreman. I'm currently a master's student at Juilliard. I'm studying piano performance, and the Academy this past summer really was an amazing experience for me. It was the first time for me to delve into the world of fortepianos, and just being able to spend so much time with such an amazing collection of diverse instruments was such a valuable experience. And being able to explore repertoire and get feedback from all of the wonderful teachers at the Academy, it was really an incredibly impactful and inspiring experience. So I hope that you enjoy this short excerpt of the Mozart Fantasy in C minor, K475. I'm playing on a Walter replica by Richard Hester.
Well, that was wonderful. I am reminded how at these salons I always feel badly not clapping more before moving on. But we have so much to go. We had so many wonderful people, and I really would like to welcome Stephanie now, who
Thank
is
you.
in North Carolina. And Stephanie, the faithful followers of our salons have seen her before in our previous salon and back in June, when she played on a square piano, and we were so enthralled by that. And the collection in Hunter has quite a few square pianos. So we invited Stephanie as one of the fellows to come and play them and tell us some more. And she gave a wonderful presentation telling us about the genres and the circumstances of this very important kind of piano in the 19th century in particular. So Stephanie, welcome, and maybe you can say a few words yourself about your experience at Hunter.
Sure, thank you so much. It's really an honor to be here again. You can hear me? Yes? Okay. So the square piano, I think, tends to get a bad rap because we think of the late 19th century massive squares, and they're rather inadequate instruments in some ways. They're difficult to move around, and they don't sound that great. But if you look at earlier in the 19th century, you get the same diversity and character that you find in the other types of forte piano. So I was really pleased to make friends with 3 pianos that were square shaped at Hunter. There's the Babcock, which I think it's an American piano about 1820s. There's the Nuns, Robert Nunn's piano, which is the 1830s, and then the Clementi square, which I believe we are about to hear.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that evocative performance. Unlike previous workshops, this summer it was very interesting that there was a lot of interest in people playing on the square pianos. one thought that crossed my mind as this was happening was that square pianos are domestic instruments, and we had all been stuck at home for almost a year and a half. And the sense of intimacy in playing to oneself and the enchanting sounds of the square piano, perhaps we were more primed for that this time. Anyway, we're continuing to hear another performance on the square piano, this time by Angie Zhang, who's not with us live tonight, but who is a wonderful participant and a doctoral student at the University of Michigan. And she and Charles Metz, who gave a wonderful presentation on the life and music of Muzio Clementi, performing here a four-hands duo by Clementi, Opus 3, number 2, on the Clementi Square piano of the Piano Performance Museum in Hunter. Here's Angie Zhang and Charles Metz. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Hilda Huang, who's joining us live here in New York City. Hi, Hilda. Hilda was one of our fabulous fellows, and Hilda is a doctoral student at the Juilliard School in piano, but plays the harpsichord and fortepiano wonderfully as well. Some highlights from Hilda's young, exceptional career. She won the Leipzig Bach competition at the ripe old age of 18, but has gone on to perform and make music around the world. Hilda, before we hear your wonderful performance at our workshop of Beethoven's Fantasy Opus 77, I just want to give you a chance to share with you one of your favorite memories from the workshop and what you liked from it.
Actually, playing on the piano that you'll hear in just a few minutes was probably the highlight of my experience. It's an original Graf piano with original parts. And as much as we can study historical performance practice from the treatises, from the texts, and from other diagrams and iconography, nothing can substitute for the material reality of a historical instrument. And I think it was a real extraordinary privilege, especially in the United States, where these instruments are not nearly as prevalent as they are in Europe, to have the opportunity to spend an extended amount of time with such a high quality fortepiano. The piece that I'm going to play would have been composed about the same time, within 10 to 15 years of the making of this instrument. So it really is a very fitting instrument for the piece that you'll hear.
Here's Hilda Huang playing Beethoven's Opus 77 Fantasy on the Graf piano of the Piano Performance Museum.
Well, that was extremely exciting, but we're not done. We have much more to come. And those of you who have watched our salons before know Patricia, who is with us next. She was in 2 of our salons, and she was then in Florence and showed us the collection in Florence. And she came to this country, and as soon as she got here, we grabbed her to come up and and join the workshop with us, and we were glad that she did. And not only that, she brought her recently married husband with her, Fabio, who was at least as important because he is a fabulous photographer and filmmaker, and he was very helpful in making many of the videos that you've seen tonight. So welcome to both of you again, and we'd love to hear from both of you how your experience was, and introduce the Pauline Viardot piece that you'll be playing next.
Well, thank you very much for made me so lucky to be able to participate in so many salons. And I know that I will keep doing it if you want me, because I just love this event. And the only thing that I miss, as you said, is to clap at the end because of the wonderful performances that you always share with us. So as for the workshop, it was just so wonderful to be able to arrive in this country and go to such a nice place right away. And what I loved the most, I mean, I loved everything actually because the atmosphere was so welcoming and very nice. But the most, I mean, if I have to say something concrete, the open mind that I think that is the main philosophy of the salon, participants, faculty, and idea, and of course, it's the same for the workshop. So in many senses, because we had so much freedom to develop our own personal projects, and I think that was really important because then we could fully experience what the fortepianos from the collection have to say, in the sense that after, it was only, at least for me, it was only after the dialogue with all the instruments and trying them that I could decide what to play on each of them and what to record and what to play for the concert. And it was almost a surprise. And I think that's really, really important, that relationship with the instrument in which you are not going to impose your version or, preconceived ideas, but you are going to find what you can exchange with it. And so in this sense, the collection offers so many possibilities, and the atmosphere of the workshop welcomes them. And then also, and I'll just finish, sorry. The last thing is that it was really, really interesting, the fact that we were like 3 generations of fortepiano related people. So we had the faculty, we had the fellows, and we had the great pianists that actually did a great, amazing job, very, very impressive job. But it was really nice, this, to be able to see all the 3 different levels of knowing this instrument, all together, working together, and being a family for that week. So yeah, that was it, and I'll let him talk. Sorry.
No, just just to say, it has been a great experience being involved in this workshop as a videographer, because yes, I have had the opportunity to watch, listen each musician, and enjoy the residency atmosphere for 1 week. So thank you very much.
Yes,
So
sorry, go ahead.
I forgot to say about the piece. I got excited about the Academy and the memories. So the piece that I'm playing on a wonderful Pleyel pianino from Maria, actually. It's one of the 2 piano pieces from Pauline Viardot, a French composer of the 19th century.
Unmuting, sorry. Brava, Patricia. That is so gorgeous. It makes me really want to have like some red wine and look at a sunset in Spain. So it's my pleasure to introduce Julian Jensen. And Julian and I, we met actually when I was in China via Zoom. And it was such a pleasure, really, to have a little taste of home. Somebody who was really hungry to learn about fortepianos, even if it was the middle of the night in China. It was really, really fun for me. And now, of course, I get to see him all the time in New York. So Julian did a wonderful performance of the variations and fugue on a theme by Handel by Brahms. And I'll let him introduce himself a little bit and talk about his experience at the workshop. Hi, Julian.
Hi, Audrey, and hello, everyone tuning in. As she said, my name is Julian Jensen, and it was my first steps into a larger world. I'm studying the modern piano, of course, at Mannes right now. Simona Dinnerstein is my professor. She's my teacher right now. And she was the one who actually suggested that I take these first steps into a larger world. And so I got in touch through her with Audrey. And since then, when I set foot on that foundation, on that retreat, it was just everything blew my mind. And I really deeply connected with this late Broadwood that was in the collection, and I had been working on this Brahms piece for some time, so it just felt like a natural fit for me. It's hard to explain, but it was a great experience all around, and I hope you enjoy this piece.
Well, you should have been there in person for all of these performances by our incredible students and fellows. As beautiful as they were tonight, to hear them again, just getting to make music together and hear these wonderful musicians was so memorable. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight. For those of you listening in our live audience, we'd love to hear your comments. And if you have any questions right now for any of us or our fellows who've shared about their experiences, please type them in your comment box, and we'll be happy to talk more about what you're curious about. Thank you again. But yeah, while we wait for questions to come in, let me just announce that we will have another salon on January 8th that's in the works called Improvising in Historical Styles, January 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be joined by some wonderful specialists in this burgeoning field of improvising in the Baroque, classical, and Romantic styles. So hope you'll join us again. Stay tuned by checking on our website, www.academyfortepiano.org. And speaking of our workshop, Academy of Fortepiano, we also are planning our next workshop, which will be upcoming in June 2022. So we invite your participation and your application. Stay tuned for more information.
And if I may add, in the near future, for those of you watching, the three of us, Audrey and Yi-heng and I, are doing a repeat performance of our faculty concert a week from today in Hunter. And if you're at all interested in coming, I think there's some information that was posted on how to buy tickets, and so you can hear the whole program. Now, I would like to welcome one person you haven't met yet who is here right now, and that's Robin Morris, and he was a fellow also at our workshop, and you may not have been aware, but if you thought that you heard Bach in our opening video, you were right, and it was Bach on a piano, and which might be surprising, but it was Robin playing the prelude in C sharp minor on the Pleyel pianino, which Patricia also played, and his concept was to play Bach the way Chopin might have played it, because we know that he was very, very beholden to the Bach well-tempered clavier. So I'd love to ask Robin, maybe he can talk to us a little bit more about what his thinking was in playing the prelude on the pianino at the workshop. Hi, Robin.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for that. When I knew that I was going to get to meet this lovely pianino, what I wanted to do was to play some of the music that Chopin wrote when he went on that trip that didn't go all that well for him. They were hoping it would be a sort of tonic for his health to go to the south of Spain, and he ended up being kind of ill and kind of miserable. But something he brought with him was a copy of the well-tempered clavier. So I thought it might be interesting to try some of those preludes on that piano. And I've always been kind of interested, I guess, in trying to find what Chopin's Bach might have been, because it was obviously so important to him. His whole life, it was something that he really loved. He made his students play Bach. He always loved playing Bach himself. And there are some, tantalizing glimpses of maybe his his Bach, sorry. A few years ago, Jean-Jacques Eicheldinger published a facsimile of an old French edition of the well-tempered clavier with some annotations of Chopin. It was a copy he gave to a student. Some of the annotations are not as exciting as they would appear once you realize that they are just copied from the Czerny edition. Although that still tells us something, that maybe the Czerny edition is actually not a terrible starting point. if you want to do this kind of thing. So anyways, I took that as a bit of a starting point, and then I find it really fun to try and notice, in particular with Chopin, because he doesn't like to give us hints. I like to find, there's often little bits of other music. He was very observant and really devoured all of the music that he came across. And so I just try to do a little bit of broad comparative analysis when I, play, in this case, some Bach preludes. Try and find, does this remind me of any piece or even just any broad topic from his own music? And then just see if that gives me a way in. And of course, your lovely piano suggests things itself.
Thank you. And apparently a question came in from the audience, which about the Pleyel piano, which we call it a pianino, and he's asking. He said it looked like an upright piano, and it does. So this was kind of an in between and a transitional model that Pleyel specifically came up with. Well, actually, it was I think Robert Warnham in England who built even smaller models like this. And if you've noticed, it's a little bit hard to tell in the recording, but even though it looks like just an upright piano, it has an amazingly full and warm sound, which both Patricia and Robin really, brought out. And it did not make a bad impression compared to the grand pianos that it was surrounded by at all. It has an incredible amount of color and a very booming bass and lots of overtones. And it was called a pianino. I think the distinguishing characteristic is that the strings are not crossed. And in the later models, the strings in the upright pianos would be crossed. And here they're in the pianino, they're not crossed. It was built, so this is an original instrument that I brought from France. And it was built in the Pleyel by the Pleyel family. I think it was the son Camille by that time who was in charge of the company around 1841, so well during Chopin's lifetime. So I hope that answers some questions.
Well, I hope that everyone will join us in Hunter in person one of these days. It's beautiful out there in the Catskills, and as you've heard tonight, there are some incredible instruments there, and during our workshop, incredible people. So thank you, Patricia, Julian, Stephanie, Robin, Isaac, Hilda, and my co-hosts Audrey and Maria for reminiscing tonight, and getting to hear all of you play is just brings me so much joy, and I'm just happy to see your faces. Have a great night. Thank you again for watching the International Fortepiano Salon. Be safe and well. Goodbye.